So today we are going to make some 2026 World Cup predictions. Very early World Cup predictions. I am a die-hard hardcore football fanatic. I watch a lot of football, both international and club football, and not just the usual big teams. I watch any game that interests me, even if it's what nobody would watch. I will continue to make mapping videos, but if you want consistent football content, check out my Spanish channel. I will do another video in June when the national squads are announced. Before I predict the group stage games, let's take a look at the playoff spots that are still up for grabs. First, we have UEFA second round qualifiers. Only 4 European spots remain in the World Cup, and how it will be determined is like this. There are 4 pathways: Pathway A, B, C, and D semi-finals and finals. Pathway A contains Wales versus Bosnia and Herzegovina and Italy versus Northern Ireland, also known as Ulster. So firstly, I think home field advantage is very crucial in a match where the stakes are high. Especially now. The Wales-Bosnia match will be held in Cardiff. But quality of the opponent is much more important to consider. Wales have had a renaissance as of late. They've qualified for the last World Cup, and they have really decent young players and great attacking depth. Bosnia also has some pretty decent players in their prime, and players who are just making it on the scene. But yes, they still play Edin Dzeko. They are still relying on a 39-year-old striker who will turn 40 in about 2 months' time. He ghosted at Fiorentina, and he recently signed for Schalke 04 in the second Bundesliga. But to be fair, he's had a much easier time playing second division football than first division football. But of course, Bosnia has more than just Dzeko, so I wouldn't count Bosnia out just yet. Given the quality of Bosnia's recent opponents, it's hard for me to put Bosnia over Wales, who's had a harder time in their group and better players overall. I think Wales makes it to the final. I do expect a valiant effort, and honestly it wouldn't shock me if Bosnia won in the end. Next up is Italy versus Northern Ireland. I swear, if Italy loses this game I am going to laugh so hard you can hear me from across the pond. If Italy doesn't beat Northern Ireland I am probably going to somersault off the Sears Tower. They haven't been to the last 2 World Cups despite being considered one of the best national teams in the world. What's funny is that last time they failed to qualify, they were eliminated in the same exact predicament as now, losing 1-0 to North Macedonia in humiliating fashion. At some point, Italy needs to remember that the last time they were in a World Cup was over 10 years ago. And that they also won the Euros in 2021. Even then Italy still hasn't been competent. The only players that catch my eye is Gianluigi Donnarumma from Manchester City, Matteo Retegui from Alcazar and Moise Kean from Fiorentina. Everyone else I'm very wary of. But oh well, I can't say I have a lot of faith in Northern Ireland. Their best players may be good for the national team, but for their clubs they aren't exactly great. Northern Ireland's stronghold is their defense. They could park the bus, but I think Italy is deadly enough to break it down. Italy wins and advances to face Wales. The match would once again be held in Cardiff. A lot is on the line here. The question is, can Italy's talent bail them out and qualify them to the World Cup for the first time since 2014? It's obviously possible, but it's also possible that Wales beats Italy. It'll definitely be an entertaining back-and-forth match, but ultimately, Italy will win pathway and will qualify for the World Cup. I am so ready to eat my own words if Italy fails again. Pathway B contains Ukraine versus Sweden, and Poland versus Albania. For the Ukraine-Sweden game, it'll be held in Valencia because Ukraine can't play in Ukraine. Right off the bat, Ukraine is in solid form while Sweden is in terrible form. The only reason they're in this playoff is because of Nations League rankings. You know what's funny? If any of these Nations League teams screwed up, we could have had Moldova in these pathways. We could have hit San Marino in these pathways just because they won their respective leagues. I mean, I wouldn't complain. So Ukraine versus Sweden, who's gonna win? Honestly, Ukraine has to win because they have to given the circumstances. They almost made it last time. Unfortunately for Sweden, their form is too poor. It's hard for me to see them making any progress at this point. Graham Potter was put at the helm too late in my opinion. So Ukraine to the playoff final. Poland versus Albania on the other hand, the game is in Warsaw and I think Poland is a stronger national team. Don't get me wrong, I do think Albania is capable of beating Poland in Poland. Poland I think is a bit overlooked because of like one or two world-class players when they have other players. Albania is pulling off a run that shouldn't be overlooked. Their win against Serbia was impressive. Honestly though, I lean more towards Poland beating Albania. So Poland versus Ukraine in the final of Pathway B. I think it's going to be Poland this time as well. The game will again be in Valencia because Ukraine can't play in Ukraine. Thanks Putin. So Poland to the World Cup. Pathway C, we have Slovakia versus Kosovo in Bratislava and then Turkey versus Romania in Istanbul. So I'm gonna get straight into it for this specific match. Turkey will beat Romania. I think Turkey is a stronger team overall. And the home field advantage for Turkey will definitely be effective. Slovakia versus Kosovo is harder to tell. Slovakia in their most recent games, they lost to Slovenia earlier last year in the Nations League playoffs, couldn't beat them in Slovakia. Although, Slovakia beat Germany and Slovakia in the first round. They lost to Northern Ireland in Belfast, and they lost to Germany in Leipzig, 6-0. Kosovo, they are no Germany but I'll tell you what, there's no reason to sleep on Kosovo. No reason. They had a pretty good World Cup qualification campaign, given Kosovo as a federation, as a footballing nation are not even 20 years old, they just started. This is their third ever World Cup qualification campaign in their history. Point being, Kosovo is in very good form. They have momentum coming into this match. They play together as a unit, which has shown in their first round matches. I don't care that Sweden was in poor form, because Kosovo held out against Switzerland. So overall, Kosovo is not to be underestimated. But honestly, I don't think it matters who wins because I genuinely believe Turkey is going to win the pathway anyway. So Turkey qualifies for the World Cup. Pathway D, this is my favorite path because whoever qualifies out of this gets to face my team in the last group stage match. Count your days, the four of you, to your deaths you march. Mexico's taking 3 points. So first off, Czechia versus Ireland in Prague. Ireland just came off a very impressive campaign where they managed to clutch the playoff spot at the last minute. At first their run was a bit shaky. They've struggled against Hungary, predictably lost to Portugal, and they lost to Armenia. But in the return leg, they had back-to-back victories. 1-0 to Armenia, 2-0 to Portugal, and a fairy tale of a match, the 3-2 comeback over Hungary in Budapest. Troy Parrott, you're the GOAT. Keep your eyes on Ireland. I was backing them from the very beginning. However, I'll be honest. It wouldn't shock me if Ireland frauds in the playoffs either against Czechia or whoever wins out of Denmark and North Macedonia. For Czechia's case, they deserve their share of credit too. Decent campaign, but I'm not gonna let your loss to the Faroe Islands slide when you needed 3 points to get closer to direct qualification. To be fair, I think the Faroe Islands are kinda goated. Extremely underrated national team. Overall though, I'm hoping for some Troy Parrott magic to strike again. I'm hoping Ireland can manage. I think Ireland has what it takes to pull it off. Denmark versus North Macedonia. Well, everyone assumes Denmark will advance, but I can't count out North Macedonia as they've proven that they can pull off upsets. Regardless, Denmark wins this match. Ireland versus Denmark in Dublin. Much respect to both these teams, they both have the stronger chances. I'm gonna go for the shocker. Welcome to the World Cup Ireland. That will do it for the European playoff teams. Now we move on to the intercontinental playoff teams. Only 2 spots remain. This is a little different. My favorite part is that the playoffs are going to be in Mexico. Welcome to the motherland. Pathway 1, first matchup is New Caledonia versus Jamaica. This is where I'm gonna set my foot down, but Jamaica takes this victory. Jamaica versus DR Congo. In the Guadalajara Metro, one of the greatest cities in the world. This will be hard to predict. My heart says Jamaica, but my brain says DR Congo. Overall, DR Congo has way stronger squad depth, a way stronger starting 11, although they have the disadvantage of having to travel an ocean across. I think they'll manage. Pathway 2, this time we go to the Monterrey Metro, one of the best cities in the world. Bolivia versus Suriname. I feel like many people would sleep on this match, but honestly I think this is going to be an awesome matchup. After all, only one can win. Suriname, the Dutch-born merchants. They are a bit out of form. Bolivia, the mountain merchants. Experienced but only at home. Bolivia, you guys are my Hispanic brothers. I love Bolivia, and I love Suriname too. They are our CONCACAF brothers. Whoever wins should be proud. But I think Bolivia takes this win. I think Bolivia is a harder opponent than Suriname. That leaves us with Iraq versus Bolivia. That's another hard one. But I will say, this is a match I might sleep on. No offense. We're going to take this match to penalties. And honestly, Bolivia takes it. Screw it. Bolivia takes the win over Iraq and Monterrey. Bite me. Now is time for the actual World Cup predictions. Group A. My favorite group. We're starting off strong here. First off is the house, my team, Mexico. I love my country so much it hurts. We also have South Korea, South Africa, and Ireland. UEFA pathway. Do you listen? This is the type of group where any four of these teams has a chance of making it out. If this wasn't a World Cup where we weren't hosting, I'd be shitting my pants honestly. But in this case we are hosting, and that gives me a little more confidence. We have very mid players, but I think we play stronger as a team. First game at the Azteca, Mexico versus South Africa. I'm gonna run that game down for you guys. Right before halftime or shortly after, Orbelin Pineda is going to score a screamer. He's gonna do the dance. South Africa will equalize, and then in the closing 15 minutes, Raul Jimenez is gonna score a header. Mexico will beat South Africa 2-1. South Korea will take a win against Ireland, and Ireland will face South Africa. That match is very interesting. Ireland takes the win. Afterwards we have Mexico and South Korea, which is in my opinion, our hardest matchup. I see us drawing by a single goal. As mid as our team is, we'll still play with courage and get a result, especially at home. Then we have Mexico versus Ireland. We're gonna go to that stadium. We're gonna show off this tifo, honor our Irish brethren, bring the battalion flag and show our appreciation. Thank you Ireland, we love you guys, you're welcome in our country anytime. Unfortunately you guys are 3 points for us. Then we have South Africa versus South Korea. This is where South Africa finally gets a win in this World Cup. And the group looks like this. Mexico first, South Korea second, Ireland third, and they will be in the best 8 third-place teams to make it to the round of 32, and South Africa will be dead last. I can smell the angry comments already. I know you guys think we're easy, but I'll tell you what, get ready to be humbled because it's not just us that you guys gotta worry about. Group B, hosts Canada, Switzerland, Qatar and Italy, UEFA pathway. This is tough to predict, but I'm going with Switzerland first, Canada second, Italy will finish third place but will finish in the best 8. I still think Italy is kinda mid, so I think Switzerland will beat Italy in a very fun matchup. Switzerland will steamroll Qatar, and will probably narrowly beat Canada. Canada will tie Italy, and Canada will get their first World Cup win over Qatar. Unfortunately for them I don't see Qatar making that much of an impact at all. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. I'm eyeing everyone who says Brazil will win the group. Are you sure? You think Ancelotti will grow this team up to its highest potential by the World Cup? I'm going for the upset. Morocco first, Brazil second, Scotland third, finishing in the best 8. I'm not basing it off of the fact that Morocco made it to the final of the AFCON, or that they were the underdogs of the 2022 World Cup. They have a very good squad, world-class players, the best right-back in the world in Hakimi, and a very strong youth class. On paper, however, Brazil is still the better squad, but they are in very mid-form. I'm gonna say this right now, I don't think they're making quarter-finals, let alone semis. They are not World Cup final material. They will make it out of the group, yes, they will make a run, yes. But Morocco is gonna upset Brazil. Scotland will get the result against Haiti, and the rest is history. Morocco first, Brazil second, Scotland third place being in the best 8, and Haiti last. So Group D, Paraguay, Australia and Turkey, and that's about it. Yeah, because the host should be banned. Right? The FIFA Peace Prize winner is making out with the bald man and the genocide merchant, all while invoking fear in Greenland of all places, not just them. Minnesota, Caracas, Mexico. Anyways, the United States should be banned. Just like Israel should, if they're gonna ban Russia, which I'm against anyway. It only makes common sense. Back to business. Group D hosts United States, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. This is another tough group to predict. But God forbid the United States draws Colombia, Norway, and Ghana, right? This group still isn't that easy for them. There's gonna be trouble on the road. Similar to Group A, any one of these teams can win. Since the United States are hosting, they are supposed to win, they are just gonna have to win, and advance from the group. So it's going to be Turkey first, United States second, Paraguay third while being in the best 8, and Australia last. I hate to put Australia down, but when it comes down to it, my South American brethren in Paraguay shall prevail. I'm praying that you guys beat the US, the fraudulent states of America. The US will advance in second place just because they have to, and they'll probably advance on 5 points. Preferably, I'd place any other team in any order above the United States in this group. Well, I made a lot of people angry, didn't I? Alright, so Group E, Germany, Curaçao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. Gosh, imagine watching Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, time to snooze. Don't count on me watching that game. But expect me to watch Germany versus Curaçao just out of pity. Similar to Haiti, I wish for Curaçao to do well, but I don't see it. But well, I am going to laugh out loud if Germany doesn't make it out of the group again. But surely they will this time. Ivory Coast and Ecuador is harder to tell. But I know a little more about Ecuador, especially since they happened to play us a lot of times as of recently. But this is how I think it's gonna go. Germany first, Ecuador second, Ivory Coast in third. However, I don't think they'll be in the top 8. And Curaçao would be left in fourth, but they'll go with their heads held high for giving their people a first World Cup performance. Germany, if you guys get grouped, I don't know what to tell you. Group E, Netherlands, Japan, Poland and Tunisia, another group that's hard to call. Both Netherlands and Japan, both the strongest dark horse teams, albeit the Dutch much stronger. Both teams are in good form, insane youth group, insane depth, and an insane workhorse unit. It's easy for me to call it a draw, but I'll take a risk and say Japan will beat the Netherlands. Overall, it will be Japan first, Netherlands second, Poland third, Tunisia fourth. Tunisia, I love you guys, I love Tunis, they have my club's colors, I think we are twins, they didn't let me down at the Club World Cup, I didn't doubt you guys last World Cup, I knew you guys would beat France, but I think you guys will miss out. Group G, that group I'm guaranteed to fall asleep. Belgium, Iran, Egypt, and New Zealand. I'm telling you right now, if Belgium doesn't make it out of the group, I will go to the top of the Burj Khalifa and I am gonna try to balance myself with my toe. For an hour. Last World Cup I had Belgium advancing and they disappointed massively. Here, it's hard to try to count out Belgium. There's Egypt, who has wonderful attack depth, a world-class winger and one of the best strikers. Iran, decent squad but very shaky form. And New Zealand, but they're New Zealand. Belgium first, Egypt second, Iran third place but will not be in the best 8, and New Zealand last. I would love for New Zealand to have a shocker and beat Belgium, but I don't see it happening. Group H is a fun group: Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. I love all of these countries. So I'll tell you the predictions straightforward. Spain first, Uruguay second, Cape Verde third, Saudi Arabia fourth. I'm going for the shocker, and I'm gonna say Cape Verde pulls off a miracle win against Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately for Cape Verde, I don't think they'll make it in the top 8 rankings anyway. I wouldn't be shocked if Uruguay gets grouped. Spain has this group won by light years. In fact, Spain is one of my picks to win the entire tournament. They were my pick to win the 2020 Euros, even though that came out of my ass. It was at a time when everyone was saying England would win. Look, I just love to be different. Can't you really blame me for being different? I would think not. Spain, you guys can do it. Now we have Group I. This is going to be hilarious. France, Senegal, the African champions, IQ path to winner, Bolivia, and Norway. Keep your eyes on Norway. But first, France versus Senegal. A rematch of the 2002 World Cup. France, defending champions, facing Senegal in their World Cup debut. Senegal is a former French colony. Senegal beat France because France won in 2018 and they were grouped with Tunisia in 2022. I had reason to suspect that Tunisia, also being a former French colony, could beat France. It's like an obligation. Do I think Senegal can beat France right now? Maybe. Hopefully. It's definitely possible. I'd love to see that happen, but I don't think it will. Bolivia versus Norway, give it to Norway. France versus Bolivia, give it to France. Norway versus Senegal is hard to tell. But hear me out on Norway. Norway has a very impressive squad, quite an old goalkeeper, a defense I wouldn't glaze over Ecuador, a very good midfield, very good attack, and the best striker in the world, Erling Haaland. Is that really a dispute? I mean, he's the best striker in the world as of now. I think that's undisputed. Anyhow, Norway will narrowly beat Senegal. Norway versus France, my gosh bro, the marketing. I already see it. Mbappe versus Haaland, yeah. I'm here to see everyone play, I'm not here for 2 players. My thing in football, I'm not attending a match just to see one player in action. I'm looking at you Inter Miami fans. I'm going to watch football for the love of the game and for everyone that's there. If I'm gonna watch Inter Miami versus Chicago Fire in Major Fraud Soccer, I'm there for the fire and only the fire. If I'm gonna watch Norway versus France, I'm there for a thriller. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. Senegal versus Bolivia, I'm gonna say Senegal wins. Based on how I think the matches will play out, Norway will finish first, France second, Senegal third, being in the top 8, and Bolivia last sadly. Group J, another interesting group. We have Argentina, again our Latin American brothers, although they love to troll the everlasting piss out of us, we love you guys too, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Jordan's first World Cup, Austria's first since 1998, Algeria's first since 2014, and Argentina's official World Cup title defense. If the World Cup curse starts again, I am going to scream my lungs out and laugh at everyone. Instant predictions though. Argentina first, Algeria second, Austria third, being in the best 8, and Jordan fourth, although I'd love to see Algeria and Jordan both top the group. I don't think Jordan will go with 3 losses, I think they'll tie one of the games. I think Algeria is gonna beat Austria. Forget jumping on the bandwagon for the World Cup title holder, I'm watching the highlight of Group J, Algeria vs Austria. Group K, Portugal, IQ Playoff 1 winner DR Congo, Uzbekistan and Colombia. Hard to tell, Uzbekistan's first World Cup and DR Congo first since being named Zaire. Portugal's gonna steamroll DR Congo. I think Colombia and Uzbekistan are gonna have a shockingly close match. I think Colombia is gonna take it though, our fellow brethren. Colombia will also take it over DR Congo. Portugal and Uzbekistan. Portugal takes it. Portugal versus Colombia might end in a draw, and DR Congo versus Uzbekistan. Both teams will be needing a win, but I see them drawing. Uzbekistan will take third place, but they won't be in the top 8. And finally we have Group L: England, Croatia, Ghana and Panama, our Hispanic brethren as well, even though they hate us. I'm gonna say it straightforward, England first, Croatia second. So who's gonna take third place? Panama or Ghana? Well, I think Ghana is quite shaky. I would not underestimate them. They have experienced players. Panama I would not count out either. They are in much better form. Both teams have every right to be confident against each other. Yet I think Panama is gonna take it. Panama will be in the top 8. Quick side note, the website I used to predict the group stage is called WC2026.app. The problem is, it isn't accurate in assigning the draws for the third-place teams in the knockout stage. So I changed the website midway through. Now for the knockout stage, which is the most impossible part to predict. You can't really predict everything, but I'm gonna take a stab at it. So, based on the group stage results I put, our first round of 32 matches: Germany versus Paraguay. Paraguay has a well-rounded defense, but their attack is not fully developed yet. Germany has a starting 11 much stronger than Paraguay's starting 11. So Germany takes the win. Although, I would not be shocked if Paraguay wins, and honestly I would rather see that. Then we have Norway versus Poland. Norway takes that. South Korea versus Canada. Unfortunately that's the end for Canada. South Korea advances to the round of 16. That match would not be in Canada anyway, but if it was I probably would have made different predictions. Next up we have Japan versus Brazil. I could just be a dick and say Japan will choke like they usually do. But I'd love to think that third time is the charm, especially with a Brazil that's a bit turbulent. Japan, you are going to face South Korea in the round of 16? Then Croatia versus Colombia. Colombia, you better pray you don't draw, otherwise Croatia is gonna kill you guys in penalties. I think Colombia will barely win this match. Croatia might surprise us like they always have, but I don't think the Colombians are gonna let this go easily. Spain versus Algeria. Well, Spain's gonna win that one. Italy versus Turkey. I'll be honest here. There's no such thing as a bad prediction in this matchup. But this matchup might be the battle of mid. This would be Italy's first knockout match at the World Cup since the 2006 final. This will be Turkey's first World Cup match since 2002, when they won third place over South Korea at the 2002 World Cup. Italy will win. Then we have Belgium versus Ireland. Unfortunately this will be the end for Ireland. As much as I want them to do well, Belgium is a more superior opponent, although they've had it easy this World Cup, and Ireland was basically given the group of death. Belgium will go full force and defeat Ireland in a defensive snoozer. We'll miss you, Ireland. Next up is Morocco versus Netherlands. This is probably going to be the closest match in World Cup history. Any team can win, and it's not unreasonable to call BS on anybody who says either team will beat the other. Can Morocco pull off another statement run starting with the Netherlands? They could, but the Netherlands have better players in each position overall. The Netherlands will take this. Ecuador versus France. I see Ecuador putting up a very good defensive match, but I think France will take this victory. Mexico versus Scotland. This match scares me. I love Scotland, I love the Scottish League, and I love the bagpipes. But accordions, trumpets, trombones, drums are better. Mexico, you broke the 5th game curse. I don't see how we won't make it to the round of 16 winning the group at the Azteca. Like I said, our squad is mediocre. Scotland have better players than we do, but I tend to think that the indomitable Mexican spirit is gonna kick in. This match probably won't be any different. 1-0 to Mexico. England versus Senegal. I can hear the English crying already, it's coming home. European runners-up versus the African champions, even if England kinda fluked making it to the final of the Euro 2024, everybody knows it. Some people could argue Senegal's win at AFCON was a fluke because of all the drama that unfolded between them and Morocco that night, so I think this match won't see a lot of goals. But I think England is gonna skate through and win, like they tend to do a lot. Remember, this is in the United States. I could be a crackhead and say England will get grouped, but that would be delusional of me. Argentina versus Uruguay. Argentina is winning that one comfortably. USA versus Egypt. Since this is in the United States, I have no other choice but to say the United States will make it to the round of 16. Curses. Switzerland versus Austria. Man, what is it with Switzerland and their neighbors at this World Cup? That'll be quite a match to see, but Switzerland wins this. And lastly, for the round of 32 is Portugal versus Panama. Sorry Panama, Portugal takes this one, they are too strong. Now in the round of 16, Germany versus Norway. I'm going for the shocker, Norway makes it to quarter-finals. And I'm not basing it off of one player, I'm basing it off the fact that Germany is inconsistent and their form isn't 2010 or 2014 material. Norway is in much better shape and more quarter-final material than Germany is in my opinion, despite Germany having better players. Japan versus South Korea in the round of 16. With all due respect to both nations, love you both. Quarter-finals, Norway versus Japan. Colombia versus Spain. It'll be a close game, but I think Spain will make it to quarter-finals. Belgium versus Italy and another battle of mid. Italy will make it, I suppose. Netherlands versus France, that's gonna be a much harder game to predict. Both contenders for the final trophy. It wouldn't be a crazy take to say that the Netherlands will beat France, right? I think this result will hold. France beats Netherlands to make it to the quarter-finals. Mexico versus England. Unfortunately, we're not gonna beat England. Even if we're at the Azteca, we're just not. England's starting 11 is astronomically clear of ours, and I would not bet on my national team to do anything against England, even if they're skating through. We are not the Mexico I remember watching and falling in love with. But I'll always stick with them no matter what. I'm not plastic at the end of the day. Man. When are we ever gonna win the World Cup? The only reason I think we make it this far is because we are hosting this World Cup. I don't think we beat Scotland if we weren't hosting. I don't think we win our group on 7 points if we weren't hosting. We're definitely not getting 9 points. But point being, Mexico are the greatest underachievers of all time. How are we not world powers yet? We should be. We used to be the dark horses of the world. There was a time where people would say Mexico are next in line to win the World Cup as a dark horse. All that hope's gone. Congratulations to England, blah blah blah, it's coming home. Argentina versus USA. This match I might as well just walk off a cliff. But at least it's only the round of 16, and honestly I'd rather see Argentina win, which they will do. Unless FIFA wants to screw around with me using the refs and VAR and to give the United States the win. If this was the World Cup final instead, I'd honestly just pray for a bomb to explode. Please don't trade me, FBI, I'm innocent. So Argentina advances. Switzerland versus Portugal. This will be a rematch of the 2022 round of 16 match where I didn't expect Portugal to thrash Switzerland 6-1. I don't think Portugal will thrash Switzerland this time around, but I think Portugal will still advance by a goal or two. For quarter-finals, at this point I'm sending myself to the Shadow Realm. Norway versus Japan. Norway, I wish we were as happy as you guys, Same with Japan. This may be one of the most wholesome matches of the World Cup, yet will be one of the most intense matches. It could go either way, but I'm trusting my gut feeling and saying Norway will advance to semi-finals. For now at least. Sorry Japan. Spain versus Italy. Yeah, I put Spain through to semi-finals already. France versus England, a rematch of the 2022 quarter-finals. Honestly, I can't not say England wins at this point. I could play it safe and say France, but I think there will be some questionable refereeing decisions in this match. England through to semi-finals. Either that or Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham are gonna play like we've never seen before. Ironically, I have England as one of my picks to win, albeit just by skating through. They are just gonna somehow do it and make it for this tournament. If not, I'm so ready to eat my own words up. Argentina versus Portugal. Goodness gracious, whatever happens, the world is probably gonna end. Either way, the end is foreseeable at this point given everything that's been happening so far in 2026, and this might be the final straw. There's a lot on the line in this matchup if it happens. Argentina, everyone thought the last World Cup would be CR7 and Messi's last one. This one is definitely CR7's last World Cup and most certainly Messi's last one. This type of player rivalry we'll probably never see again. They are trying to fire up Mbappe and Haaland as the next rivalry, but honestly there's a lot of players that aren't that far off. CR7 and Messi were the top two undisputed best players in the world in their time. Argentina are doing this to prove themselves, totally not to be another side character in Messi's story. Portugal are doing this not just for CR7, they are playing for the glory. Portugal is a better team that knows not to individualize their star. Portugal has a lot of player depth and Argentina has a lot of depth too, and I'll give credit to that even though Messi plays in fraud league soccer or major fraud soccer or whatever combination you want. Anyhow, I'm gonna sum this match up really quick. Portugal. Welcome to the semis, baby. You just eliminated the World Cup champions, and you guys are going to head off and face England. Semi-finals, we have Norway versus Spain. This is where Norway's run will end. Spain is a much stronger opponent than Norway's previous opponents, and Spain will prove themselves on the world stage. Spain to the World Cup final. Portugal versus England. The coming home chants are going to be annoying. But so will the CR7 fanboys. Be glad I'm not one of them. Even though I am a CR7 guy, I'm not an eternal glazer. This is where England's fraudulent run will come to an end. Portugal has an extra weight of pressure to succeed, and I think in this matchup Portugal's drive to win will prevail. With that being said, we have a Portugal-Spain final set up. The Iberian Classic, but before that we have the third-place match. For that match we have Norway versus England, which will be an interesting matchup that I don't think many people will see, but I think England will win third place. Finally, we have the World Cup final. The most anticipated sports event of all time. I love both Portugal and Spain, and I have both of these teams as my favorites to win the whole thing, but in my most humble opinion, I think Spain will win the World Cup. That, my friends, is my very early World Cup prediction. I will make a second updated predictions video right before the World Cup where we'll have a clear idea of which players will be playing, which will play a factor in the odds. And all the remaining spots will be confirmed in the time, so we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys want more footy related content, give me some suggestions in the comments. I will upload this video in my Spanish channel as well, where I'll have more footy related content there. See you guys later.